What is up, guys? Welcome to the Wrestling Fans Podcast. This is episode 1 of it. I don't know what this is going to really become. Really, in my head, I was thinking like, hey, I want to do a wrestling podcast. Just talking about wrestling-related things. Things going on, wrestling video games, the current stuff with WWE, AEW. I'd say those are the two main companies right now. And just like things here and there that you hear, rumors, all that stuff. Possibly talking about, future matchups that we'd love to see. Possible, people coming back. Maybe even we can talk about past matches and special matches that like just made us want to really become a fan of wrestling and all that fun stuff. I do have a couple things that I would like to talk about in this podcast. I had a couple good responses on people, thinking this was a good idea. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know how long it's going to, go on for. It literally could be this one episode if I find it just people don't really like it. But, yeah. Let's talk about the current state of wrestling. So it's in a weird spot. It's in a really, really weird spot right now. WWE continues to release a bunch of people, like just here and there. Now they're just starting to release people. Like they just released, their main ring announcer. It was Greg something, Hamilton or something like that. He did, the whole, like, the greatest in the world, that whole thing with Shane McMahon. So they just released him, which is weird, like, out of all people to release your ring announcer. Unless he did something, or people just dislike him, it's, I don't know. And then you got AEW here that continues to sign people every day, even though their roster was already huge with all these stars. And, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about AEW, because personally, I'm not really a fan of AEW. They have some characters on there that are good, that I enjoyed in the WWE. CM Punk, Chris Jericho. They have the Big Show, or Paul White. You have Mark Henry. You have JR on commentary. You have Taz on commentary. You got Cody Rhodes in there. You got Dustin Rhodes. Obviously there's a much more. You got the FDR. You just got a bunch of people. Like, and they just keep coming in. Like, they recently just signed Tony Nese. He's part of the Cruiserweight division for WWE, and they keep signing these people. And I personally believe that they shouldn't be signing every free agent that, WWE releases. The second that their, 30 or 60 day or even 90 day no compete clause ends, they're immediately in AEW. Now, Bray Wyatt, he's been posting on Twitter lately, and today he posted 2 more days. 2 more days until his, I think it was a 90-day no-compete clause. till it ends. And personally, I did this on TikTok. If you don't follow me on TikTok, I do wrestling stuff on there. I do funny gaming clips. And I do some skits sometimes. Maybe some just random funny videos that I just come up with. But on there, I explained how if Bray Wyatt does decide once, this whole thing is over, that he wants to continue with professional wrestling, that he should not go back, or he shouldn't go to AEW. He should try to go back to WWE. Now, if you look at WWE, they put a lot of time and effort into the Fiend character, period. People say that, Vince McMahon buried him, or, the writers just gave bad writing. He didn't really have bad writing. Like, if you think about it, yes, the match against Seth Rollins in the Hell in the Cell was rough. It was different. But with that, it showed, the character of the Fiend and how he's not just a normal wrestler. He's something outside of the realm of that. He can get beat up with all these chairs and still kick out of a pin. Like, he could get buried in all this stuff, but still, kick out of a pin. Yeah, it's a whole thing with that match, and it kind of set up to where the Fiend ended up going and becoming like Universal Champion. And the way that whole reign ended with him losing at Crown Jewel to Goldberg, out of all people, in kind of a squash match. It wasn't a good way to end that, but it kind of formed the character that continued on after that, because after that you ended up having the feud with John Cena, which led to that WrestleMania match, which was crazy. And it was just really good. His whole career, they've put effort into his character with, the whole Sister Abigail stuff, getting him even, the rocking chairs, the different lanterns, the special entrances with, the slow, like, Undertaker walk with, they'd sell, like, lights that you can have in the crowd to be one of the fireflies. The merchandise, the Fiend masks. You have, the kid ones that you can get. Then you have like a replica. Then you have like the deluxe replica, which is like $200. They have the lantern with the face on it and all the hair that you can buy. They have the Fiend Championship belt. Like, they put a lot of effort into selling this character all the way up till when he was released. Like, that WrestleMania match that he came back, the way he came back, I loved it. I was super excited, and I love how they put it at the beginning of the show. With Alexa Bliss, man, they had her completely change her character, and right now she's off TV, and I'm guessing they're gonna probably try to put her back in, the old Alexa Bliss somehow, or they're gonna bring the Fiend back and bring her back in 2 days on SmackDown or something. I don't know. I think she's on SmackDown. I have no clue. But my whole like reason on why I'm saying this is AEW, if he was to go over there, they have way too many stars right now. WWE, I'd say the main stars. You have Randy Orton. You have Brock Lesnar. You have Roman Reigns. You have Drew McIntyre. You have Big E. And you have Bobby Lashley. That's, I'd say, 6 major stars. If you want to go into like the women with like, Becky Lynch, Sasha, Charlotte, you can go on with a couple of those, but that's the main for the women. And then you got tag teams like the Usos, the New Day. You got what is it, RK Bro. There's a bunch of tag teams that you can add in there also, but 6, I'd say, total stars inside of WWE that are like on the show every week, like main event every week, every pay-per-view, this and that. AEW, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, you got MJF, you got what's his name, Cowboy, I forgot what his name is, but if you watch, you know who I'm talking about. Hitman, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You got him, you got Cody Rhodes, let's see, you got Darby Allin, you got CM Punk, because he's on every show now and wrestles every week against just anyone that comes in. You have Sting. You have a lot of these people. Like, I know there's more. You got like the Young Bucks, both of them. You got what's his name? I can't think of his name. Overall, with the people that I've just thought of, you got about 10 compared to the 6. So you got freaking what's his name? Malachi Black. I think that's how you say his name. It was Aleister Black. You got all these people in AEW who are top tier. John Moxley, I just remembered. There's a lot of people. That's 11. You got a lot of people that they're trying to put at the top, but no one's got an actual story. There's no one that's actually in a feud. The Jericho and MJF feud, that was an actual feud. You had you got Bryan Danielson now. You had the Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega feud. You had the Kenny Omega and John Moxley feud, but that was at this point like 2 years ago. Like there's not a lot going on the show. It's a lot of just scatter. Like it's scattered everywhere, and there's so many people. Like there's so many people that they even took their 2-hour show that they have with Dynamite, and then they end up putting a 1-hour show after SmackDown on Friday to kind of just fit in, some more people, maybe 2-3 matches, if that. It's people can't thrive in AEW if you can't get TV time. They even have, their internet show, with their YouTube, stream of, they'll do like an hour of just more stuff. Like they're trying to show off all of the talent that they do have, but they don't. Like they can't. They literally can't show off everything that they want to show off. It's nearly impossible. WWE has, Raw, SmackDown, 2 separate. Right now, they're 2 separate brands with separate rosters. So there's different stories going on back and forth. Like on Raw, you'd have, the tag team feud between AJ Styles and Amos. I think that's how you say his name. And then you have RK Bro with Randy Orton and Riddle. And then you'd have, you got Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. And now you got Big E and what's Drew McIntyre. Like those feuds, with the women. So you'd have Becky Lynch and I forgot who else is on Raw. Not gonna lie, I don't watch Raw. And then you go over to SmackDown. SmackDown, you got Roman Reigns with Edge. Roman Reigns and Edge having their thing going on for a little bit. Then Seth Rollins and Edge. Then you got your tag team with I don't think they really have many tag team feuds going on SmackDown. But then you got women's with Charlotte, Sasha. Then you got all the other girls that are in there also. They just end up getting involved with you got Liv Morgan and Carmella, their little feud that they're having back and forth. That's giving them both some TV time. But anyway, my whole point of that is WWE gives people stories, and they go for a while until it gets a little stale or it's just the end of it. AEW, the only people really getting stories are the main people: Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. Those type of people are getting actual stories. CM Punk isn't even getting a story. The man's undefeated on AEW in general, and nothing. He's got no feud. He called out Darby Allin, his first night back in wrestling after 8 years or whatever, and nothing. They had one match. Nothing really happened after that. It's it's pro wrestling. They're treating it like it's pro wrestling. Where it's like an indie show. You go to Ring of Honor or something. People are just getting matched up in the wrestling in front of a crowd. People are enjoying the matches. WWE is a performance. It's pro wrestling, but it's a performance. You're here. It's why World Wrestling Entertainment. That's why they changed it to World Wrestling Entertainment, because it's entertaining the folks at home. There's literally a story being told every single week, and it goes on sometimes for years. Years, man. What? I'm trying to think of Edge and Seth Rollins. 7 years ago, Seth Rollins had Edge, didn't know if he could ever wrestle again, knew his neck was messed up, it was able to kick his head in, get a curb stomp on him in the middle of the ring. He didn't do it. 7 years later, they have a match and they bring up that scenario. That is storytelling. When you're bringing something up from that long ago, that's enough time for kids to grow up to the point where they're watching wrestling, and then from there they see this moment, and then they go back to a time when they weren't alive or was a baby, and they see oh my god, this happened that long ago, and now he's finally getting his revenge type of thing. It's actually storytelling. That's what I love about wrestling. I love watching, the people getting body slammed, flips and all that stuff, people getting hit really hard. But when it comes to wrestling, I love their performance. When you got someone that can sell very good in the middle of a ring, man, you're telling a damn story right there. Storytelling's perfect. Now I know I've definitely gone off the rails, but freaking What was I saying? Bray Wyatt. There we go. Bray Wyatt, if he goes to AEW, he's not going to get that storytelling. He's not going to be able to tell his story properly. It's kind of like when, I'm just going to call him Aleister Black, because that's really what I know him as. When Aleister Black took his step over, yeah, month or two, was able to tell a story with Cody Rhodes. But since that story with him, he hasn't really done much. Like, I don't really see much about it. Like, I follow them on, like, Twitter, Instagram. You know, I see their posts after every show, and they're not really like, he's wrestling, but they're not really giving him like a story, not, you know. But you know, for them, they are pro wrestling. Like CM Punk said, AEW is pro wrestling, which is true. But if you want to go and perform in front of the world and be like on the top of the level, and show your creative side on top of how athletic you are, I'd say WWE, man. WWE is where it's at. All right, but yeah, AEW, man, they're hiring too many people. They need to just, you know, deal with the people that they have, so they can, you know, build off of that, and eventually they can get to the point. They're not even racking in 1 million views every week for their show. Now, speaking of that, I keep seeing on Twitter, wrestling Twitter. It's a wonderful place, man. Wrestling Twitter. They keep talking about everyone who posts the you know, the views for the shows, for like NXT, you know, Raw, SmackDown, you know, AEW, all that type of stuff. They keep talking about the demographic between ages 18 and 49. Instead of talking about the views, total views for the show. Now, SmackDown, 2 million, I'd say 2.1 million almost every week on SmackDown. Maybe more sometimes, depending on, you know, what happens, what they have advertised. And, you know, they'll say like it's 0.2 of the demo or something like that, which I don't care. I don't care about the demographic. I don't care what age between this and this we're watching. It doesn't matter. Just, I just want to deal with just the views. Screw the demo. Bigger numbers, you know? So if let's say SmackDown, let's do more of an even level. NXT averages maybe around like 900,000 to like 600,000 a week. So let's break it down the middle, maybe like 700,000. Let's just 700,000. And AEW does about the same thing as NXT. Now, that's not really good. But the demographic for AEW is way higher. So for AEW, it would be like 0.56. And for NXT, it'll be like 0.32. I don't care. Who has the bigger number of views, man? I don't care about the demographic. Who has the most views? Period. You know, it's a frustrating thing, man. It's very, very frustrating. Just seeing that. Like, why do people care about that? Just what happened to the, you know, the Attitude Era when you know, WCW was winning for like 2 years straight. You know, views, more views every week. Boom, 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 boom. For like 2 years, just every week. You think they went off the demographic? No, hell no. It doesn't matter. They went off by views. If you watch anything about it, they're going off of views. Period. That's the whole, like, boost on why, WWE won the Monday Night War. Because the views for the WWE went up, WCW went down. Like, it's that simple. People are just switching over. And, people... Oh, it just blows my mind, the specific numbers, what people pay attention to now. But, yeah. So, another thing. Moving on. Moving on from that. The WWE draft happened recently, and I wasn't really a fan of how they did it. I think they should do the old school way on how they used to do it, and kind of just, make it be like a surprise. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird. Because I think they should keep world champions, on the same shows. So if you're the Universal Champion, you stay on SmackDown since it has the blue strap. WWE Champ stays on Raw. I think that should stay the same. The Women's Champions, that should stay the same. SmackDown, Raw. Tag Champions, I think should stay the same. Instead of just doing this whole event like recently, which we can get into with the Women's Championship, where you just swap titles and then you go on your merry way. I think the only ones that should change are, the IC title and the US title. And, that can swap back and forth, which, But they should do it more of a, like, instead of they stand up at the podium and say, the USA the USA people or whatever, and us, the hosts of Monday Night Raw, or the GMs of Monday Night Raw, select. They should just say, and Monday Night Raw selects. And then it should do the whole ticker thing like it used to. And then, the face pops up, who it is, their music starts playing, and then they walk out. It's kind of like a, hey, this is my show now type of thing. They're wearing like the Raw t-shirt, that type of thing. It shouldn't be that just they pop up. You're like, okay. Then you move on to the next person. You do like 4 picks in a row. And then you end up just leaving like... And they draft random people, man. Like it's the most random people you could think of. Like they'll draft people from like NXT onto the main roster. It's like, what about the people that are here? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why they do that. They just make it they make themselves look a little dumb. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I think they should just go back to the old way. Like the 2007, 2006 draft when John Cena got drafted over. Perfect. The way they did that. Perfect. But it's not like that anymore, man. They have changed quite some bit. And talking about the draft, let's talk about the Charlotte Flair situation. Charlotte, the daughter of Mr. Ric Flair. Woo! Charlotte, they're kind of using her ever since she was brought up to the main, even on NXT, When she was on NXT, they were just shoving her down our gullets. And I wasn't a fan of that. Like, I didn't want to see her win. Like, especially when she got onto the main roster. She had that, like, cocky attitude on TV, which, okay, yes, you're athletic. You can, put on a good show, you know? You're Ric Flair's daughter. Like, you have a lot to live up to, and so far, when it comes to, like, her performance, she's living up to him for the most part. But backstage, I think everything's just getting to her head on top of who she's, like, dating. She's dating, Andrade. He used to be in the WWE, now he's in AEW. I feel like he's kind of getting into her head a little bit, like, you're better than them type of thing. Like, hey, you should, jump the ship. And she's getting very, like, cocky backstage, and just people are, like, losing respect for her. And, it's a whole issue. Like, Becky and her are friends. Like, real life friends. And, they came up in NXT together. And debuted together. Becky was the last one out of, like, the 3 to, win a world championship. And has won the least amount. But, they're friends, in the way that she kind of, like, did her wrong on SmackDown. Like, the roster of SmackDown was, like, upset. Supposedly very upset that Charlotte was drafted to SmackDown and Becky was drafted to Raw. Like, they wanted Becky to stay because Becky's, like, she's one of the homies type of thing. Like, everyone there loves her, and, she's very just wholesome and, cares. While Charlotte's over here just being, Charlotte, and being very cocky and, just thinking that she's better than everyone. Like on Monday Night Raw, her and Nia Jax, it was just a botched match, period. Like, they're just hitting each other. Like, they're mad at each other. Like, and they're just going back and forth the whole time, and at that point, I just knew, like, before anything came out, before what happened on SmackDown recently, like, I was just like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. Like, I feel like she's just starting to think that she's better than everyone else. And she's not, She's not. She's not over with the fans at all. Like, people just don't like her. And they just keep shoving her down our throats and giving her the world title because it's Ric Flair's daughter. And, she's just messed up. Like, on SmackDown, if you haven't seen it, you gotta go see it. They're supposed to do the whole championship exchange because of the draft, and this was the last show before, everyone swapped over. And they were gonna exchange belts, and they were simply supposed to just exchange belts. And they just, Becky's trying to, like, grab the belt, and Charlotte's just being difficult, and, is, like, pulling away, and she ends up throwing it onto the ground. And Becky was clearly just annoyed, just didn't want to be there. And supposedly, Sonya Deville, who was in the middle of the ring, like, kind of like officiating it, or, doing her thing, she when they got backstage, got very upset and, like, kind of went off on Charlotte over the whole situation, which is understandable. Like, come on, grow up a little bit. But yeah, I feel like Charlotte might be gone soon. Either she's gonna just do something that's gonna cause her to get, like, suspended, or she's gonna get fired because of it. because it was just like actually fighting in the back, or just causing troubles. Um, or she's just gonna ask for her release and just jump the ship for like AEW, where her dad can go and manage her or whatever she wants to do. Maybe go work with her boyfriend. Yeah, I don't know. Charlotte is pretty trash, not gonna lie. Alright, and one of the last things here I got is the wrestling world. The wrestling YouTube community. Oh, here comes my dog. It's changed. The man himself. I've made 3 videos on him. Okay, the first one wasn't really on him, but it mentioned him. So 2 technically. The man himself. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's almost 3 in the morning, and I was working all day. But the man himself, the elitist. He posted a video that proved me right. Now, me and him back in I'd say August of 2020. So like well over a year ago. Like a year and like 2 months. Had a little beef, I guess, on YouTube and Twitter. So he originally contacted me on YouTube, commented on something of mine, saying good job, good stuff, keep it up, yada yada. So I looked at his page and I see like he does wrestling content, and I'm like, it's not like terrible. I watched like 2 videos. And I'm like, yeah, man, thanks, appreciate it. I'm like, because he was a small channel, he was smaller than I was. He had like 500 subscribers or something like that. I'm like, yeah, man, sometime we should do like a collab or something. Me just looking for someone in the community to just be like, hey, let's do something, let's make a video together or whatever. And he basically said, like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, okay, so that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And the more I started to, like, watch his videos and see what he would post on Twitter, was just, like, it's like he didn't like the wrestling community, and just, he didn't know, like, all that much about what he was making videos on. And then in his videos, I could tell that just by the way that he'd speak, that he just didn't have the like passion for making wrestling content on YouTube, and passion for wrestling, period. And that was kind of like the whole, like, I made a video, it was like the wrestling community needs to change. It was talking about people who are just making content just to make it, and they're making the community like trash by constantly like degrading everything that happens on TV. Having to make a video right after the show saying like, oh, it was trash, I'm gonna stop watching it, but you continue to watch it week after week instead of just not watching it. So yeah, I did that, and he saw it because he subscribed to me, and kind of took it as I was talking about him because of the things that I referenced about like Twitter, about this and that. I wasn't really part of wrestling Twitter before I met this guy. So after that, he ended up making a video saying some stuff like these points or whatever that I said about him, that he's just gonna flat out just be like, these aren't true, this or that. Give some answer to whatever I was saying, to kind of, there's freaking bug in here, you see that? So from there, I made another response. I went through, watched a good amount of his videos, and just made like a list of, problems, that I kind of did. And I kind of just like shat on him a little bit. And from there, I didn't get like a response. I wasn't expecting a response. And I was like, okay, he doesn't, I guess that's it, It is what it is. He doesn't want to continue. He doesn't want to continue this beef. Fast forward, a few months, and I haven't really talked to him at this point. Occasionally, like he would post, like, tag me and stuff on Twitter, and I'm like, why are you tagging me in this? Like, clearly just, I'm not a fan of what you do. And I'd end up doing it back to him, just to trigger him a little bit. But yeah, I ended up doing like a "Do I hate the elitist" video, and I just went in, point out my flaws again, that I saw with his channel. And one of the things that I said was, I feel like he's not making this content because he loves it. I feel like he's making it because he's obviously growing a community off of it. And eventually he's going to realize that he doesn't want to do this anymore and make this type of content, and he's going to have this whole community that he's got built up around it, and he's just going to try to leave it and move on to doing something else, on YouTube or whatever. And that's kind of what's happening right now. He made a video like a week ago saying he's taking a break, this and that. And yeah, it kind of proved my point. He even said that he's not enjoying, wrestling really anymore. Like, he doesn't have the passion for it anymore. And I knew that was going to happen, 100%. The guy grew from, 500 subs. Or he made his channel in, like, late 2019. And he's got over 7,000 now. Like, he's higher than I am. But with him, he was consistent, If I was consistent, I'd probably have some more subs than what I have. But I'm not. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of, like, disappoints me in a way. Like, he's wasting right now. He's wasting what he has. Like, if I had that, if, some of my friends had that, like, they'd be so grateful to have such a, like, strong community that literally believe in him, calling him, like, the best wrestling YouTuber. The kid's, like, 18, and he's the best wrestling YouTuber. If you want to go best wrestling YouTuber, I'd say maybe like Dank Ops, when, top of the list. You got Pulse, top of the list. You even have what's his name? Oh damn, I can't think of it. They do like shorts and funny like clips from wrestling or botches and stuff. WrestleMania or something like that. Yeah. They're in the top. I wouldn't consider him in the top. Joe Cronin is, top of the, like, news when it comes to wrestling, like, posting it within, like, 10 minutes of it going out. Like, the guy, I'm pretty sure, has, like, a full-time job. He's got kids and a wife, he's got a house, he's got all this stuff. And he's on top of wrestling stuff every day, no matter, like, what company it is involved in. He's on top of it. If it makes headlines, he's talking about it. And the elitist isn't that. Like he makes it took him ages to get a new microphone. Like the guy was talking into it sounded like a cell phone recording his audio. It wasn't good. But yeah, I predicted a year and a half, or a year and a couple months in advance on what his YouTube was going to turn out to be. He says he doesn't know if he's coming back to do, wrestling stuff, or if when he does come back, he'll do something else. He doesn't know. But whatever you do, man, I hope you do come back and do wrestling stuff, because you're just gonna waste your community, because they're just gonna disappear, man, 100%. But yeah, it's cool just being able to sit here and talk. I haven't really done that in a while. I do have another podcast. It's the Hermcast with DBallerXX on the Hermana Hub YouTube channel. The link is in the description for that channel if you would like to check it out. But yeah, go follow my links. Twitter. What am I? Twitter over here. Where am I? Ooh, right there. My TikTok down there, where I do good stuff, and then obviously my Twitch over on this side. You know what I'm saying. Eventually, I do have right here some unboxing stuff that I'm gonna do probably right after I end this. And then I might do a video on my wrestling collection. I'm really debating, like, going back to, like, childhood stuff. But I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 1 of this podcast. It's good to talk. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like on this podcast and let me know how you guys feel about it. And hope you did enjoy. Give me some topics also. If you'd like to hear my opinion on a specific thing, just let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast. Peace out.